Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, here to give you guys all the wrestling tea, all the action that happens inside and outside of the squared circle. We also talk about rumors and all that kind of good stuff. Hope you guys are having an amazing week. Hope you guys are having amazing holidays, man. Holidays are flying by super fast, super crazy. I feel like I haven't even had a chance to breathe. It's, well, I blame it on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was, maybe like a little later this year. I think it was on the 28th, which is kind of crazy because usually it's on like the 23rd or the 24th. Those 4 days, in discrepancy, obviously, pay dividends. And it makes the holiday season just seems like it's sped up. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today, all lined up. We have our AEW Winter is Coming results. We have our Ring of Honor TNA recap. And then we're going to talk about Kevin Owens, who, in my opinion, and I'm going to talk about it in the segment, who, in my opinion, I feel like he has to win. He has to beat Cody Rhodes. He has to become the new WWE champion, or it could be absolutely detrimental to his character, to probably WWE as well. We're going to get into that. Fourth segment, we got Trish Stratus news. Seems like she's going to make her way back inside the squared circle. She's going to come back to professional wrestling. I'm not saying like a retirement tour. She got into it within, she was talking about it in an interview, how she said when she comes back, she just doesn't want to do these knockoff matches or these knockoff promos. When she comes back, she wants to make sure that what she does is kind of remembered, kind of like, not like I said, it's not a retirement tour, it's not her coming back fully, but it's not like she just wants to come back just to kind of show her pretty face around the company again. In our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about today in wrestling history. We're going to jump on into my wrestling DeLorean, gun to 88 miles per hour, Marty. And then we're going to talk about what happened in wrestling history on this day of December 13th, not 2024, but obviously. We're going to talk about this date. And it's all going to be awesome. All right, but before we get into any of the action, just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link. Also, hit up that super chat. Whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network, if you've been dying to get something off your chest, we are all ears. Don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concerns, make sure you guys use that super chat, which guarantees anything you guys put inside that chat box right there and you hit that dollar sign is going to be featured and talked about on the show. Also, just leave your comments after the videos are published on YouTube as well. This is also a great way to support the channel, guys. Have these podcasters do the one thing that they care about most, is to make sure you guys are consuming as much awesome sports content that you guys love so dang much. So make sure you guys throw us a bone here and there. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your sport makes all the difference. So, let's get this party started. Let's get this conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we'll make sure this podcast is, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Of course, super chat and everything, it's all good. Go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Give me your top 5 professional wrestlers, male, female. I'm all for it. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say. Definitely remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you guys can get some cool notifications whenever we all decide to go live. Also, I realize, in terms of talking sports, feedback is a gift. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. But of course, like I said, it's inevitable. It's sports. There's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be some criticism. It's all gravy, baby. It's already water under the bridge. Don't even worry about it. We just want to make sure you guys feel like you guys are part of the, part of this company, part of this podcast. All right, so make sure you guys, hit up that super chat. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of that AEW. Was it AEW Dynamite's Winter is Coming, or was it just Winter is Coming? I'm not too sure. But, they were live at the T-Mobile Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, home of the obviously, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, obviously. The Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I thought it would have been cool if you would have seen some Kansas City Chiefs in the stands, but I don't think there was really, much star power in that. So we're going to start off, obviously on the mic, you got Excalibur, you got Nigel McGuinness and Tony Schiavone, one of the best broadcasting teams. But, you know, I miss Jim Ross. And we actually did get a health update on Jim Ross, saying that he feels, you know, better than he's ever had before. You know, he had quite a little bit of medical issues over 2024, but it seems like he's going to be announcing at World's End, I think it is. I don't want to say at World's End because it sounds like the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie or something like that. I'm not too sure, but you know, at World's End, so it should be pretty cool to kind of see him come back into the fray. I love myself some Jim Ross. The huge reason why I'm a professional wrestling fan today is the reason why Jim Ross's powerful voice was able to, you know, draw me into the screen, making me feel like that I was sitting right there, commentary with him and Jerry the King Lawler, or him or Michael Cole, and it was just, you know, or him and Tony Schiavone and, you know, Excalibur, and it's just, no, it's cool. You know, it's always cool to see Jim Ross back inside the Squared Circle. Well, not inside, but announcing what's happening inside the Squared Circle. All right, so we got AEW World Trios Champ, the Bastard Pack, and the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley taking on Switchblade Jay White of the Bang Bang Gang against teaming up with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. This was you know, the match ended up in a no decision, obviously. We were about to see Orange Cassidy pick up the victory. And then, of course, you saw the Hangman Adam Page come into the fray, start throwing elbows, tackling Jon Moxley. Obviously, Orange Cassidy was not really happy about this result. He wanted to get a dub over the AEW World Champion. But, you know, in a way, I like it when these three superstars are, you know, together inside the ring. I like the fact that AEW is kind of holding that, you know, the Death Riders are against, you know, they're against the world. Who will join the Death Riders next? You know, who will, you know, possibly try to team up with Orange Cassidy to take him down. Obviously, at the end of this bout, you saw all three men beating the hell out of each other. You know, Switchblade Jay White, you know, he hit the Blade Runner on Orange Cassidy, and, you know, Orange Cassidy, you know, attacked Hangman Adam Page, and it just didn't really look good. And then Jon Moxley, you know, nothing but a huge fat smile on his face, seeing the decimation, and, you know, seeing these three superstars, you know, kind of go at it. So then he decided to come back in and try to, you know, pay dividends. But then, you know, obviously you had, oh God, who came out? No, it wasn't Darby. Darby came out after the Claudio Castagnoli match. Oh God, hold on, I have it in the notes here. But I thought it was a good spot. It was a good spot for, you know, it was a good spot for the Blade, not for the Blade Runners, for the Death Riders to kind of be, you know, ever since they took over AEW, it's been, it's been good. It's been good. You know, I heard, you know, Jon Moxley's taking full control of this creative, and, you know, it's, you know, and it makes sense. It makes sense. You know, it pays dividends. It's pretty cool. All right, so now we're going to talk about, we had a backstage moment between Jon Moxley talking about at World's End. Why can't I say that right? At World's End. At World's End, it'll be a fatal four-way match. The Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Switchblade Jay White will fight, and, you know, that's pretty ballsy of Jon Moxley to put his title on the line against those three men who obviously are gunning for him. Obviously, this seems like a huge, you know, it kind of seems like Jon Moxley's kind of, you know, selling himself short, having, you know, the AEW World Championship in jeopardy. But you're going to have these three guys who relatively kind of don't care for each other as well. So I can see during the match at World's End, you kind of see Jon Moxley kind of, you know, lingering in the corner a little bit inside the match, having these three guys beat the hell out of each other and realize that, you know, that you know, they're never going to get along. So, you know, it's a great way for the Death Riders to kind of have uncontested, you know, or just kind of just get rid of this AEW, you know, this AEW faction or team, or, you know, the good guys, or this band of, you know, AEW Avengers who are trying to take down the Death Riders. So this would be a nice way for Jon Moxley to kind of put it all out in the air, being like, you tried to face me, even all three of you together couldn't come together to, you know, to you know, overthrow me. So this is going to be a good spot for Jon Moxley to win at World's End. Probably he's going to retain. He's definitely going to retain, but you know, at the end of you saw Christian Cage in a suite. You know, you saw him talking about the Fatal 4-Way, how he's still the undisputed future AEW World Champion. Is that true? I'm not too sure. You know, honestly, if anybody could surprised Moxley. You have the patriarchy, Nick Wayne, Chris Sabian, like, I'm not, they're not really the caliber wrestlers like Wheeler Yuta, like Claudio Castagnoli, like the Bastard Pack. They don't have those same in-ring capabilities, so it would be kind of shocking to see if Christian Cage is the one to kind of take the title away from, Jon Moxley here in this match. In this future, Money in the Bank cash-in. Hook, obviously, attacking Christian Cage, and then, kind of on the run after he kind of took down the patriarchy. It was kind of cool to kind of see Hook back into the storylines ever since you've seen him retire that FTW championship. He's kind of been nowhere to be seen, no direction, no storyline. Obviously, with him and his dad, Taz, and, that's cool and all, but, it's going to get to the point where you kind of have to push the young fella here. You kind of have to make, I would love to see Hook, maybe find his way in Ring of Honor challenging for the World Television Championship. Obviously, kind of having baggage with him and Brian Cage would be kind of cool. The Don Callis family, the next step above. But right now, Hook is kind of in that lone wolf kind of phase. Well, not phase, but he's kind of in that lone wolf kind of storyline. It would be really shocking. And obviously, I thought about this, and I was like, you know what, it could work. But then again, maybe not. I think it all depends how long Taz is going to be away from AEW. But what if you have Hook join the Death Riders, kind of having, kind of being that, because, Wheeler Yuta literally is, he's on the fence. He's not too sure if what he's doing is morally right, but he's kind of just doing what Mox says, just to kind of stop him from kicking his ass or shoving chemicals down his throat or trying to suffocate him with a plastic, Stater Brothers bag or something. I'm just kidding, no. But, if you have Wheeler Yuta kicked out of the group and you bring somebody like Hook is, his personality, his wrestling aura, he doesn't care. He'll do anything, with the red rum. He'll literally, he's as aggressive and as ruthless and relentless as Jon Moxley. So this would be interesting to see if Hook finds his way into this Death Riders, faction. If you want to have a nice little, future storyline, that's what I would do with Hook right now. Obviously, he's a huge babyface, would, kind of accomplish his future inside the ring. Also, it would accomplish, a nice little shock factor, that Hook is joining the dark side or whatever. All right, next we have a Continental Classic Gold match. We get the AEW, one of the AEW's World Trios Champion, Death Rider Claudio Castagnoli, taking on the aerial assassin Will Ospreay. I think Will Ospreay definitely, what's cool for him to win this match. Both of the superstars tried so hard to, Claudio was in control the whole match. He was in control the whole match. Obviously, when you can't win on big moves, Will Ospreay, sometimes you got to reach into your bag of tricks there, and he did it with the roll-up, able to get that 1, 2, 3 and score those 3 points. So now I think he's tied 6 to 6. It would have been crazy if Claudio would have got to 9. I still, have a huge, maybe this might be a preview of the final 2 people inside, the Continental Classic to see who challenges Kazuchika Okada. But, it could be crazy. Renee Paquette was backstage, and Ricochet said, and I quote, "This is why I came to AEW, for competition, and nothing brings that out like the Continental Classic. And tonight, I have Brody King for the first time, but he's not Ricochet. We might be one right now, but tonight, it's me who hold all the cards." When he said who holds all the cards, what does that necessarily mean? Does this mean that he has the Hurt Syndicate card? Maybe can we see Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin find their way to kind of help Ricochet? Because Ricochet would be a very valuable piece. For me, once when I heard the rumor of, the Hurt Business / the Hurt Syndicate coming to AEW, I kind of had speculations that, this would be a good spot for Swerve Strickland to kind of be a part of a faction. That's something that he's been, kind of lacking, in AEW every single time. It seems like he loses against the guy who has a faction, who has a party to kind of back him up, kind of cost him his championship. And, that would have been a great way for him to kind of even the odds. But Swerve's still going to, obviously still kind of being on his own. And then now, Ricochet would be perfect. Ricochet was, he's been kind of playing around with the notion that he could in fact become a very effective heel in AEW, obviously with his friend Will Ospreay, would be, it'd be kind of cool. So when Will Ospreay would be kind of stuck in the position where you kind of lost all your friends, man. No more Kyle Fletcher, no more Don Callis family, no more Ricochet. So it would be a good spot for maybe Will Ospreay to kind of hire himself in terms of the singles competition there. So should be interesting to see if Ricochet decides to join the Hurt Syndicate. MJF showed up pulling in a limousine, obviously watching the match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. The match was won by Adam Cole. Finally, we're going to see these two guys go at it at World's End. And, for the Dynamite ring, and it should be pretty cool. We saw Renee Paquette interview Matt Cardona. It was kind of cool, kind of interesting to see Matt backstage. I'm a huge Matt Cardona guy. I loved him when he was Zack Ryder. Obviously, he said Zack is dead. But you can't forget that woo, woo, woo. I'm just kidding. No, but he was cool. He literally, from TNA to Ring of Honor to AEW, this guy's literally his own guy. Like, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't shock me if he shows up randomly in AEW, maybe to kind of help Chelsea Green win that inaugural WWE Women's United States Championship, which would be pretty badass, pretty awesome. Today's Friday. Yeah, we're gonna find out the final two tonight on SmackDown. And then, make sure you guys tune in live later on to kind of hear about that. So like I said, Kyle O'Reilly suffering the loss, but didn't really seem like he wanted to celebrate, or didn't really seem like he wanted to reconcile things with Adam Cole, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett of the Undisputed Kingdom. Like I said, I hope I don't see Kyle O'Reilly going into like a heel phase. He's better as a baby face. FTR was backstage hyping up the fight for the Fallen. Obviously, you got Dax and who's the other guy? I don't know why I want to keep calling them the Revival. I'm sorry. Like, they were so good on SmackDown. They were so good in WWE. All right, so we had Ricochet taking on Brody King. This match was, it was pretty awesome. Ricochet, hitting the shooting star press on target, but Brody grabbed Ricochet by the throat. Brody searched for, he searched for a sleeper hold on Ricochet, grabbed the ropes and escaped. Going to the top, Ricochet bashed Brody with a spirit gun and then followed it up with a second spirit gun and pinned Brody, which is, good for, awesome for Ricochet. AEW World Tag Team Champions, Private Party were backstage, but obviously interrupted by their next competitors, Leo Rush and Action Andretti. And, Renee Paquette talking with Anna Jay about the TBS Championship. The CEO of Mercedes Moné obviously sticks her nose inside other people's business. I'm just kidding, no. It was a good spot to kind of, to promote the match. We have the AEW World Tag Team Champions. AEW Women's Championship match. In the main event, we had the Glamour Mariah May defeat Mina Shirakawa, which was kind of sad because I, definitely love to see Mina Shirakawa. Mina planted Mariah with a crucifix bomb, but Mariah escaped. Mina rocked Mariah with a sling blade off the ropes. Mariah landed a headbutt and spiked Mina with the Storm Zero to score the battle. After the match, Toni Storm made her return to a thunderous ovation, which, I kind of thought it was going to happen, which is, kind of cool because, not to hate on Mariah May, she's cool and all, but it just, she doesn't have that same pizzazz that, that Toni Storm ultimately had. All right, guys, so hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about our next segment. We have TNA Impact and Ring of Honor recap. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage. Don't turn that dial, and we will be back. So, yeah.